Today I'm going to show you how I make this delicious, rich Irish whiskey apple cake covered in cream cheese frosting, walnuts, and caramel sauce. Let's go to the ingredients. I'm using 1.5 cups of crushed walnuts, half a cup of brown sugar and half a cup of white granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon of flour and half a tablespoon of cinnamon to cover the apples with before I add them to the batter, 3 tablespoons of baking powder and a dash of salt, half a cup of Irish whiskey, and don't worry, alcohol evaporates at about 80 degrees Celsius, leaving behind the delicious flavors of the whiskey, 3 eggs, half a cup of vegetable oil, and 3 apples. I recommend Granny Smith apples. And then 2 further cups of flour for the rest of the cake batter. Now I'm going to add all of the dry ingredients together, so to the flour I'm adding in the baking powder and the salt as well as the 2 types of sugar, and then just briefly combining them with a fork. Then I'm going to have to chop up my apples, and in my kitchen it works like magic. Next I'm going to cover my apples with the flour and cinnamon just to make sure that they don't completely sink in the cake batter. Now to the wet ingredients. I'm briefly whisking the eggs, combining it with the Irish whiskey and the vegetable oil, and then combining wet ingredients to the dry ingredients with a fork. No special tools needed here. Now I know this cake batter looks a little thick and maybe even a little dry, but don't worry because we're adding 3 apples to this and those are going to add so much richness and moisture, it's going to be perfect. This is the bundt cake pan I'm using. I'm greasing it up with butter really generously and also spreading in 1 tablespoon of flour to make sure that nothing is going to stick later. And now I'm just going to combine all of my ingredients together. I'm adding in the first layer of apples, placing some crushed walnuts on top, some cake batter, and repeat. Then my cake is going to go into the oven. It's preheated at 180 degrees Celsius, and it's going to stay in there for about 65 minutes. And this is how my cake looks when it comes out of the oven. It's still pretty hot. I'm going to let it cool overnight, and I'm just going to place some aluminum foil on top of it and just let it sit out. The next morning, I'm just going to flip it over and it falls right out of the form. It's perfect. Gorgeous. My delicious apple cake is ready for some cream cheese frosting. For the cream cheese frosting, I'm using some cream cheese, combining that with heavy cream until I get a consistency that's spreadable. I've also added in 1.5 tablespoons of powdered sugar to just make it slightly sweet and not too much because we're also going to be spreading some caramel sauce on top, and that's sweet enough. And then I cover this baby with my rich cream cheese frosting and add on top of it some crushed walnuts for an additional crunch, and also the saltiness of the walnuts are a perfect combination with the caramel sauce, which I'm now going to spread on top of the walnuts and the cream cheese frosting. Oh my god, my mouth is watering. And that's it. I'm done with my delicious Irish whiskey apple cake covered in cream cheese frosting, walnuts, and caramel sauce. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. That's a huge help to me. And I hope you recreate this recipe this season at home and let me know what you think of it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos and recipes like this.